Loud enough. Maybe.
Yeah, I can hear it. But
I was in the Hideaway the other day, and their menu has pictures, and they had pictures of all those Volkswagens that they used to deliver pizzas with. And it reminded me of an old Volkswagen bus I drove for about a year in Oklahoma City when I was down there. It had been built in Mexico, and it was not reliable, but it reminded me of that. So. I called her Senorita Fortuna. In English, that's misfortune. Volkswagen bus built in Mexico in 1957. A shade of green seen inside schools and jails and mental institutions. She looked like a giant loaf of bread, smoked like out of the oven. The engine had been replaced more than once and rebuilt a couple more. Transmission popped out a fourth unless you held her tight in gear. She didn't have a radio, but the lights and the wipers worked. Rode hard and put up wet. She looked much older than her years. The middle seat was missing to make room for livestock as well as people. And a huge basqueta was welded to the roof. That wasn't probably legal. But anything you could put on top or place inside could ride. That bus hauled freight of untold weight, some of it illegal. I hauled a few things myself, an old empty water tank upon the roof, a motorcycle if angled, that took some thinking, an old refrigerator on its side with the bus doors tied to keep them shut, and late one night, a traffic light from 23rd and Lincoln. Feeling brave, we once drove that bus as far south as Turner Falls. Another brief adventure north to Perry when my grandma was alive. But short trips were your best bet, around town to the river or the lake. Safest bet was stay close to home, you never knew when she might break. I think she's out there somewhere, still that ugly shade of green, still guessing what's in your wallet, 'cause breakdowns was her thing. But now she'd be a classic, built in Mexico so many years ago, and worth a lot of money. And all I got's this song to show. I called her Senorita Fortuna. In English, that's misfortune. A Volkswagen bus from Mexico that cost me a small fortune. I kind of grew up in Muskogee, but when I turned 16 and got my driver's license, we moved to upstate New York, a little town called Horseheads, famous for dead horses. And when we got to New York, I was driving, and we were getting on the thruway to cross the state, and the guy in the toll booth there, he looked down, he said, "How old are you, kid?" And I said, 16. And he said, "You can't drive. New York, you gotta be 18. So pull over. So I didn't get to drive again. The loophole was if you had driver's ed, you could drive when you were 17. Anyway, that got me in New York. And one of my friends was a Southside Elmira kid that his dad had a used car lot on the New York-Pennsylvania border. Straight line went right through the middle of the place. It wasn't fancy, gravel lot, old mechanic shops and stuff. But aside from the good cars out front, he had these cars you could buy for $35 in the back. They were parts cars, fixer-uppers, demolition derby fodder, birth control for young men, something like that. So anyway, I was there the day this family came in and bought one of those cars. And my guess was he had been laid off from a factory job there there was a lot of factories in Elmira, and they'd lay off, and we were coming on to winter, and they were gonna try to make it back home to Elmira, not from Elmira, to South Carolina, to be with family and friends, survive the winter. And he took a piece of cardboard and wrote "lost tag" on it and put it in the back window, and they left 600 miles to South Carolina as a crow flies, so it's probably about 8, because you're going through the Smoky Mountains, and it's not straight. Anyway, I didn't see how they could possibly make it. And my buddy, a couple weeks later, my buddy said, "Hey, they made it all the way in that old car." And I thought, phew. So then I got to thinking about that trip, and of course, I was reminded of the Okies going to California in cars that were worse than that, further across the desert, and they certainly weren't going to be with friends and family when they got there. So anyway, this is that trip. State Line Garage, south of Elmira on the Pennsylvania line, near Route 15 and 600 miles from somewhere in South Carolina. If you was down and out and had a few dollars to your name, on the back lot was a car for 35 bucks a change. The car didn't look like much, but it ran and had fair tires. A cardboard lost tag in the window, it might make 600 miles. So Ma and Pa and kids and a cat and everything they own climbed in and headed south, hoping somehow to make it home. The law won't pull you over, rather let you roll on through. There's another county not far away, let them take care of you. The law won't pull you over, they got better things to do. Living on peanut butter, bread, and water, and save your cash for gas. Taking handouts or begging strangers, something pride would make you pass. They'd be on the road for a day or 3 if nothing big went wrong. Sleeping at the roadside rest, waiting for the dawn. Don't drive at night, can't trust the lights to see what's up ahead. It's hard enough to stay awake without that added dread. The car, she smoked a little, the transmission slipped a lot. But slow and steady was okay, 'cause the brakes was kinda shot. The law didn't pull them over, there's no money to be made. To stop him would cost the county more than what he's paid. The law didn't pull him over, they just bowed their head and prayed. Stop for gas, free air and water at stations along the route. An Arkansas credit card helped fill up the tank to boot. So on you cruise down Route 15, don't risk the interstate. Got no legal tag nor paperwork in this means of slow escape. Let's just ride along with them for a ways. Enjoy the scenery. Mighty pretty. Paul's real quiet. He's got a grip on that steering wheel, and he's listening hard to that car. Paul's real quiet too. She's busy darning some socks. Every once in a while, she knocks off a prayer. Kids is in the back seat. They's fussing over 2 Crayolas and 1 coloring book. Whose turn? grapevine, they made it all the way. The rusty car sits behind a barn, that's where the kids now play. And it don't hurt to mention, on that rusty bumper too, was a faded, worn out sticker saying, "What would Jesus do?" The law didn't pull him over. He didn't see a threat